Yo, 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 yo. I think I went live too quickly. I was expecting a little countdown or something. We've got the feedback muted. Yeah. So, um, firstly, there are a few disclaimers I have to utter. I am not Jacob Facciarici. The words, thoughts, ideas, doctrines, theology that will be stated today will all be my opinion, not of Jacob's. So that's the disclaimer out of the way. So what inspired this? The title of the Just Chatting is Speaker's Corner to TLC Just Chatting. And I'm going to highlight. Hey Mimi, when you're ready to jump on, I think I've sent you the link. Click on and I'll add you to the stream soon. But yeah, what inspired this is um, I've been attending Speakers Corner since arriving back from Chino conference, and I had a conversation with Justin where he suggested that make a mini documentary, sort of detailing the differences between Speakers Corner and this little corner. And I've actually got a guest I'll be coming on later. Sup, Grizz. I've got a guest coming on later who I met at Speakers Corner who I think would be someone that will benefit from being in a community that we call this little corner. But before we get going, I do have something to share. So, Speakers Corner, what is it? It's a space in London where people can come and practice their free speech. You can bring a soapbox, stand on it, and say whatever you want within reason, of course. And what it is now is mostly just a religious, mostly a religious debate between Muslims and Christians. Muslims, I believe, have the numbers in terms of just amount of people that show up, and it turns into debates. Not conversations, but debates. And one of the most prominent person at Speaker's Corner on the Christian side is a guy called Bob. On the Muslim side, Mohammed Ejab, Ali Dawa, these are the giants of the Muslims, the champions of the Muslims, so to speak. And Mohammed Ejab he spoke to Peterson, and he had a conversation with Peterson and Peugeot. And Peugeot's review of that conversation is actually hilarious and very apt for the dynamic that plays out. But as part of my documenting Speakers Corner, I had an interview with Bob, who is infamous at the park for being a Christian debater. And I sort of had a conversation with them about the dynamics of the park, and I thought I'll share that with the call with this just chatting audience. Okay, let's see. Now what? Sup, Cleavers? Speakers Corner was a video box you could talk into in Toronto. They put a show together every week. I'd sometimes watch as a kid. Lovely. Uh Yo, Andrew. What's good, broski? It's nice to see you. Okay, I was gonna share this interview with Bob, but I think I might have to figure out how to share it first before. So we'll remove that. and we'll have some music playing in the background. Nothing's playing. Never mind. Okay, can't figure that out either. So, if anyone wants to join, oh, I think no, it's not it. If anyone does want to join, I'll drop the link soon enough. But first, I would like to have a conversation with Mimi, who I think is in the chat. But when she's ready, she'll come on stream soon. I do really want to share this conversation with Bob. Doesn't seem to be. Okay, that's also not working. Mimi's in the chat. Yes, I'm glad you're in the chat with me. I'll also like to have you on screen so we can have a conversation. I think you would be someone good to have a conversation with about Speakers Corner. You're young and you're observing it similarly to I was, and I want to compare notes about how your experience was there and what benefits you found from it. Thanks, Mimi. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Well, okay, all right. Since Bob isn't gonna work, we have got. Hello.
Hello.
You all right?
Good, thank you. Good, thank you. Just gonna set this up so it's stable.
That's all right. Take your time.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Let me just.
How's your week been?
My week's been good, thank you so much. How's yours been?
Busy but good. Can't complain too much.
Good, good. Yeah, I'm excited. I've never been on a live stream like this before.
Well, thank you for coming on. I've never actually hosted Sketch One up myself and done one of this live streams by myself. So you're doing me a huge favor by agreeing to this conversation. So thank you.
Thank you for having
Yeah,
me.
I just want to do a quick intro. A lot of people in the chat, they know who I am, and they're familiar with how I got into. Yeah, just a quick intro. As much info you like to share, and as little as you like to share about who you are and why you ended up at Speakers Corner. Let's start there.
So, I'm Mimi. And I came to Speaker's Corner just out of like curiosity, to learn more, just for curiosity because I'd learned a lot about like Islam, and I know that in Speaker's Corner it's mainly just Islamic debates and dawah, but I wanted to go there to learn more, and I'm also quite spiritually curious. I'm very spiritually curious, so I just felt like I just wanted to go that day. I was interested to go that day, and I met Teo there. We had a really good conversation, and I do find that there's so little nuance in Speaker's Corner, so it was amazing to find someone like Teo because he really was like kind of an answer to what I was looking for that day. And I am very like curious religiously and spiritually, and it was really amazing to have a chat with him. So yeah, that's where I'm at now.
Yeah, I too, similarly to you, I find it difficult to engage in nuanced conversation at Speakers Corner because for the most part, it's a debate platform, and it's either you've got a position that you're defending or you're attacking someone else's position. It's one of those two strategies seems to be the game that's being played. So yeah, I too I saw you being interviewed say interviewed, but
Yeah.
being interrogated by one of the Muslim dawahs there, and you were being very honest, very one of the phrases that I don't hear often in Speaker's Corner is "I don't know," and I think that's because in a debate, if you say you don't know, you sort of uh, leave room for your opponent to attack your ignorance, so to speak. But
Mm.
you were very honest and just like, I don't know. I've got a lot of questions. I've got more questions than I've got answers, and that's what attracted me to the conversation you were having with the guy. Because usually most people are very sure of where they're standing at Speaker's Corner and they're just trying to defend it.
And thank you. And one thing that I've been thinking about recently is about how actually ignorance is part of the human condition. Like, I came to a point where before I went to the Speaker's Corner, I was just at this point where I was like, I'm never gonna know God. Like, God, it would be so crazy of me to think I know God, and this tells me what God is. Like, if God is so beyond my imagination and created this whole world, like, I just feel like part of the human condition is that, like, we're ignorant. We are literally forever ignorant. We are never going to know, and so that's how I was feeling at the time, and that's still slightly how I'm feeling.
Yeah, I like that. Ignorance is definitely part of the the human condition. Well, I think it's part of the human experience.
Experience, yeah.
It's you can't, yeah, completely. And I think in terms of knowing God, I'm suspectful of anyone that can say that they've got God tied up in a box and they can tell you exactly who and what God is and how he presents himself. So yeah, I'm similarly to you skeptical of people that have got too many assured answers. I just want to so Andrew in the chat's being helpful. It says try sharing screen for it. And I think I read something about that. I have to share screen to get the audio out. So I'm gonna attempt doing that. But before I do, I just want to dig into your story a little bit deeper. Um your are your parents religious at all?
No, no,
Oh, sorry, lost you for my signal went for a little bit.
no, they're not. They're not religious.
Yeah, so I found that so interesting about your story. You're this, I'm not going to say how old you are, but fairly young, very young adult, come in to Speaker's Corner and engaging in conversations that are spiritual. So initially, my thought was, maybe she came from a religious background, but you say that's not the case. And what sparked your interest in religiosity or spirituality?
Well, it's like the founding of all cultures and all society in a way. Like, not the founding, but it's basically the founding. And there's a lot of like religious um what's the word? Clashes.
Conversation.
Yeah,
Uh,
conversation and clashes, like, just through living in a multi-faith society in the West, and that I see every day, and I'm interested in that, and I'm interested in what the right answer is. And the thing that most interested me about religion is trying to deconstruct my idea about, I don't know, like, I'm trying to figure out, like, how far is it wrong to compromise things in your life, or do things that are maybe morally wrong, or have a or like oppress people because of religion. And maybe that is the truth, because maybe that is fine, because you will reach heaven. And just made me think about little bit religion.
yeah, I think there are definitely clashes, and living in England, living in London, living in anywhere, most places in the West, we are in a multi faith cities, so the clashes are somewhat unavoidable. And you said you took some interest to Islam. How long? When did that start? How long did it last?
It
What was that
started
right
like
like?
form in like February, January. a bit before that. Yeah, January this year, 6 months ago, or a bit more, 7 months ago now. And what was the second half of your question?
What was the process? What did you find out? What grabbed your interest? What repelled you from it?
What interested me was like the complete how like this whole subculture that I had no idea about, and how when people I'd have Muslim friends and they leave to go home, they were living a completely second life, and just having an interest in something so different. That was at first something different, and secondly, then being interested in like the fact that something is so people are often very steadfast in their religion. They're very it doesn't really budge. The strictness, the inherent kind of regular strictness of it, and just interest in like the devotion that a lot of people have, and how that's so fascinating, and the compelling
Was that
nature
something that
of
you wanted
it.
for yourself?
I I was just confused in a way, and trying to like live trying to find answers, and it wasn't something that I wanted for myself, because I saw it in a lot of aspects I saw about Islam, where kind of they involved a part of your life that like makes your life smaller, especially for women. A lot of Muslim women, it kind of involves making your life, shrinking your life in some way. And although I do believe in getting rid of things like that are toxic for you, and hedonism is bad, I didn't like the way that, maybe it's just culture, but I want my life
Just
to be
struggling to hear you a
rich.
little bit.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I'm not sure if it's my signal or yours, but I'm just struggling to hear you a little bit. Give me a second, just going to. Yeah, go on. I
Can
can
you,
now. You sound a little bit clearer.
you can hear me now?
Yeah. Yes. Sorry, I missed most of the answer. You're gonna have to run it back.
Okay.
But now you're frozen again.
I said, can you hear me now? Let me change my.
And we've got
Let me
questions
change.
coming in for you as well.
Okay. Can you hear me better? Is it better?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Basically the reason I was interested in it was just the sheer difference, and the complete change of culture to everything I've ever known and everything I've ever been taught, and just the way that it made me re-question my the way I've been living, and because everything is so opposite to how to things I've been taught. To just, it was interesting to me because it was so different, and it involved a level of unlearning for me, and it was also interesting to me because I realized I had a kind of an internalized, like, maybe like in not Islamophobia, but like maybe like, yeah, maybe I'll call it that, why not, like an assumption that people were, you know, oppressed when they're not, and it's a
Of fear of
choice,
the unknown.
but yeah, but I'm still fascinated by it. But I feel like at this point I'm not so fascinated by it, because I've learned a lot about it, and yeah.
When the curiosity started, was that just were you looking uh to have what you saw your friends have, that devotion, the discipline that they showed? Was that something that you saw was lacking in you that you wanted, or is it just curious that why do they behave that way?
So I was just curious. And I didn't start thinking about devotion until later on.
Thanks, Flavors. Needed to know that. one sec with me. I've been told that it's my signal. You've been fine all this time, so I'm gonna fix my signal and get back to you. 2 seconds. Okay, all right. Let's try this again. How do I sound?
You sound good. Your signal's been fine this whole time, honestly. To me.
All right, I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying
I don't know what I was
the
saying.
question.
I was just saying I was
The
curious.
question. Yeah, like I said, the curiosity. Flavors are
And
the questionnaire that I want to get to really quickly. So, does Mimi know any Christians who take their faith seriously, or just people that go at Christmas?
I do. I know Christians. I've met Christians recently who take their faith seriously. And this is something, I guess this is what interested me about Islam, is because before this last 6 months, I'd never known anyone like that. And actually, I'd grown up in a way where people demonized Christians a lot, and learning about Islam and how people are so proud to be Muslim and they don't take shit from anyone. Sorry if I'm not meant to swear on this, but
No,
made me
it's all
think
right.
like
Go.
no, it made me think like why did I grow up and like we make fun of all the Christians, the strong Christians in America, and like we make fun of Christians, and like there'd always be like videos and viral videos of people like making fun of Christians, and it made me think about it a lot, and I just had so much more respect for religion in general. And then I became more interested to learn about this. And yeah, I've met two really strong Christians in the last 6 months. And yeah,
And
it's very
how does
beautiful.
their devotion? How does their devotion, the Christian's devotion, compare to the Muslims that you know?
Very different. Um, but I don't know the ins and outs of their life, but for me, it seems like, um, I don't know, it seems like there's a lot of criticism within Islam and the culture of the way that they practice their religion, whereas it seems like there's a lot of acceptance and like the opposite. There's hardly any criticism for different people and for newcomers in for my Christian friends, that they're very accepting, and like it's just I don't know. I don't want to bash anyone, but like it's just very different. I don't know the ins and outs of their lives though. Maybe they are very critical of other people.
Yeah. So I grew up in Nigeria, and Nigeria is mainly Christian and Islam are the two main religions, as well as some other local traditional religions. But growing up, I didn't find there to be too much difference in the way I thought the faith was being practiced. And I think the last 5 weeks I've spent at Speaker's Corner, I've gained a lot more information about Islam than I previously knew, and it's been interesting to observe. But what I wanna get into, if I'd played the video earlier, which I might still get to, you would have heard Bob, who's a Christian, speak about how he experienced the conversation and the debate style at Speaker's Corner. How would you say? How many times have you been there? First of all, was that your first time, or have you been
Two
multiple
times.
times?
Two
Two
times.
times. Okay, so very very small sample size, but in your limited experience of Speaker's Corner, um, what do you? How would you describe the dynamic, and between, and if there are any difference between Christians and Muslims that you spoke to? How does that?
The dynamic between the two is, well, they don't get along. They seem to not get along, and it seems very. I need to look at the thesaurus to find my word. Contentious, and it's a fighting environment. Yeah, I met Teo at the Speaker's Corner.
Yeah, that I think the fighting environment is exactly right, and it's one that I've been struggling with. So, let me find the comment. Andrew made this comment, asked this question, which I know the answer to, which is, have you had much contact with TLC? Any overlap with Speakers Corner? I'll say the your contact with TLC is this little corner. It's what this space or this network of people call this space that we inhabit. And it's very much different to the fighting and the arguing that takes place at Speaker's Corner. It's more conversation, it's more building relationships. And I think that's why I struggled with the debate, the fighting style, not just from Muslims, even from Christians as well. Uh,
Yeah.
it's very argumentative, very my side against your side, and
Yeah.
it ignores the individual person that they're speaking to and just attacks the faith that that individual person represents.
And there's some Christian speakers there. I don't know what his name is, but he stands up on one of the he stands up like on a dangerous place. He doesn't stand on a box. Do you know who I'm talking about? But he gets really fired up.
There are there's a look, which one? There's quite a few of them. Which one?
I don't know his name, but he was standing on the bars and he was like really, really shouting, and I don't know his name. I watched some of the you know, the guy that does the live streams. I think
Yeah.
his name's Bob. He
Yes. That's the guy interview. I was gonna play the interview with Bob.
but Bob's just the streamer guy, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what his views are or anything. Maybe I think he's just there to. I'm not sure. He's an interesting guy, but I was watching one of his streams, and there was this guy, and he almost kicked someone. One of the Christian speakers. He was so getting riled up.
Yeah, I've been told there are fights break out sometimes over there.
It's also too manly. Like there's not enough gender balance. Like in my opinion, it's just a lot of guys that go there to get anger out.
I think that's such an apt comment. It's very interesting what happens when you get, because the dynamic usually at Speaker's Corner is a conversation will break out or a debate will start happening, and then people will sort of encircle the conversation partners, and it becomes sort of like a mini arena and a stage for you to perform, and you've got a little audience there. And it's very interesting what happens when there's more women in the crowd than men. It's very rare, but sometimes you might get, and the way the debates yeah flows is different compared to the aggression and the aggression that exactly guys love fighting words.
I don't know. And men
So
always
Cleavers
say
made this
like
comment
women are like too emotional, and it's just so funny seeing all these girls fighting. So women tend to calm people down. You need a balance.
yes, we do. But also it's important to note that to these people that are debating, they're not debating to them it's not politics, it's not ideologies. These is existential. That's the religion they're fighting for,
Yeah.
and they feel like they
Yeah.
have to fight and defend the religion with words and
Yeah.
make sure that the proposition is more correct than the other propositions that the other
Yeah.
religions are offering. So it becomes, I see it in this little corner, there's something called propositional tyranny. And I see the little corner as just a showcase of propositional tyranny, meaning people care more about their beliefs. People define their beliefs more by what's written down than actually what they're practicing or what they're living. So it's more a case of, can I logically prove to you that your book, that your the book of your faith has got some inconsistencies in it, and vice versa. And that the argument can just go back and forth forever. I find it very unproductive, and
Yeah.
it's just trying to own the other side.
Yeah. Completely.
Okay,
Exactly.
I'm I am gonna try one more time to try to get this video up. If anyone in the chat wants to come in and help me play a quick video, that would be great. Thank you. But whilst we're still trying to figure that out, will you be returning back to Speaker's Corner anytime, or have you been scared
Yeah,
away?
for sure. I would like to visit. I might go next week if I have time next time. Oh no, I'm seeing my friend. Maybe not this week, but the week after. Or I might go this week, but early in the morning. I won't stay because I have to be at someone's in the evening. But I'll be back at some time. Yeah, another time. You've
Guys in the chat, can
frozen.
you just let me know when the signal is moving mad on my side, or thank you. Hold on. Let me try this real quick. See if how do I sound?
I, I, I can't hear you. Oh my gosh. I've lost you. Shoot. I just realized they used me on a video for Bauer, and they just posted it now a day ago.
Really?
And it says, how many Western women are attracted to Islam? Honestly. I hate this. I
Oh my
hate
god.
this. I don't understand this thing, like westernization versus Islam. Like, I don't get that. Westernization is. Oh, I don't get this. I hate this word, westernization. It implies that there's not blood in
There's
Arabization as well. I can't hear you.
one of the. You can't hear me still.
I can hear you now. I can hear you
Can you
now.
see me?
Yeah, I can see you now.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Um, just off the back of what you've just said, I watch. You can go to the Christian channels and the YouTube channels. They will upload the same video and just title it very differently. So the title of the video is for their audience. It's what their title was going to attract the more views, and the Western framing of things is very excitable to Muslim audience. there's nothing more inspiring to a Muslim from what I can see than uh finding out that the West is going to shit and that Islam is their view is that Islam is the only thing that can save the West. And yeah, and they also
Yeah.
tie the West with Christianity very directly. So
And
it's
that's
and
also insane because the Christianity didn't even it didn't its origins don't come from the West, and I really hate it when people tie together colonialism and Christianity, like, oh, or they tie together, yeah, like I just hate this so much because it's so inaccurate.
one of the one of the things that we sort of bonded over at Speaker's Corner was how I asked you if you've got friends or people that you can speak to about this matters, and your response was,
Oh no, no.
yeah, yeah, a bit. Likewise, and just to this is regarding this question that Andrew asked. I invited her to the TLC because I figured as someone that's young, spiritually curious, and got all of these ideas about God and how to pursue him, what better place to explore that than with other people here who are at different stage of that journey. Some have been on this journey for decades, others are like a year or two into their journey, and I I think that the idea of an estuary, as Chad rightly said, is perfect for it, and that's what I'm trying to. I mean, you missed the first estuary meeting at Speakers Corner. The next one will be not this coming week, but next Sunday. So you're welcome to come to that. I think you'll be great at that. But
Is
in
that
the
the
meantime, I
it's
want you to
in it's physical, like the estuary is physical. It's
yeah,
at Beaker's Corner.
yes.
Ah,
And I've managed. There are 3 or 4 people that I know I can have conversations with that won't turn into debate, and I've invited
yeah,
those people to estuary. And the first one was actually very successful, so gonna run it again. But in the meantime, I want you to be aware of this TLC, this little corner, because
okay,
there are tons of resources here. There are tons of people in the chat in the corner that are willing to have conversations with you, to talk to
yeah.
you about whatever questions you might have. And yeah, I have found people around this space to be very accommodating and just the best. Especially chat. I got to meet most of a lot of them a month or so ago, so it's been great. Oh, if you can, that would be great. There's a suggestion in the chat for a conversation that people are saying you would find helpful. And guys, if you can post that in the chat, that would be great. Thank you. Yeah. So, do you have any questions about this little corner? What this live stream, all of this space, all of these things I've been saying? You've been very generous with your time.
Sorry.
Do you have any questions about this little corner, about all of the
Oh,
participation that
want to
this
thank
yeah,
you. I just want to thank you for introducing me to this. And I have a question. Is it what kind of things do you talk about here?
uh I it varies so much, but I think the best way to for yours, I think it will be meaningful conversation. So there's a I sent your series, the John Viveki 50 Hour series, where it details how meaning and mean, meaning making has been a problem in the West for a while. And for young people, a lot of a lot of us are either coming from nihilism or trying to stay away from nihilism
Yeah,
because the story, the narrative that the West has to offer about what it means to be a person, it's
yeah,
not since it's decoupled from Christianity. There's less meaningful, substantial conversations to being had in the West, and this little corner specializes in sense making and having conversations that goes beyond just the shallow depths, and also helping each other on our spiritual quest, as we call it.
That's amazing. This is what we talked a bit about that at Speaker's Corner, about how I'm really searching for something that's like meaningful and interesting, and there's so much nihilism around and hedonism around, and like
Yeah.
just people just focus on like pleasure seeking, and that's it. And like I just think this is so awesome. So thank you so much. Okay, I missed that
Well,
comment. There was a comment there. We talk about.
yeah.
Oh, amazing. That's so perfect. Yes. Do you talk about anthropology as well?
Yes. All of the
Cool.
lodges, all of the studies.
Great.
Yeah. I will continue to send you links of things that I think you will find interesting, and feel free to explore. There are tons of people. I'll also invite you to the Discord server. Do you have Discord?
I can I can make an account. I recently downloaded the app, but I still haven't made an account.
All right. If you're on Discord, I invite you to the Bridges of Meaning Discord server, where there are people there that will be happy to have conversations with you, and yes, it will be great. The comment filled with suggestions already. Yeah, there was tons of laughter, like Chad said. Example of a good random conversation with Paul. Paul Vanderklay is one of the like staples in this little corner. He's actually a pastor of such, but he's very open. Am I still there?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very open, and he's had a conversation with tons of different people, and just lets them have their story and share their story with them. Uh, it will be great. It's more suggestions. The Job and Paul conversation, the first one. Yes. So I will forward all of these suggestions to you. Oh, if you're still there. I'll add her back when she comes back. Um, thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot, chat, for all of the suggestions and helping. I knew this little corner would be a great place for Mimi to explore, and hopefully she find God along the way, so to speak. I'm gonna try one last time to try present the interview I did with Bob, because I think it's a good image. It captures the spirit of Speaker's Corner. It's he spoke about the game that's being played, and the game that's being played at Speaker's Corner compared to the game that's being played in this little corner is vastly different. And I think it would be good to compare that. So if I'll try one last time to share my interview with Bob with you guys. Oh, Mimi's back.
Is it working?
Yes, you're back and you're good. You look fine, you sound great.
Good.
Yeah, I was just saying I really want to find a way to present this interview I did with Bob, because I think there's a game being played at Speaker's Corner, and you play to win,
Yeah,
and
that's literally it. People are so scared of just having conversations to have conversations, and it makes it worse that they film you, and then in the comments everyone's going to be saying like, oh, she's stupid, or this, whatever.
my
They're trying to.
first time at Speaker's Corner, I got cornered by Anza, who's another famous Muslim dawad at the park. And I was just sort of pushed into a debate, and I looked around, there's cameras everywhere, there's like he had 5 different microphones on him because people are just putting cameras in him and recording him. And I just started laughing because I thought it was hilarious that there's this show. It felt like wrestling, pro wrestling to me, and it felt like we're both cutting promos we're cutting promos back and forth. He's The Rock and I'm Stone Cold. So I found it funny, and I just sort of laughed it off. And I got sent a video of it. It was titled something crazy like Hamza destroys Christian, stupid Christian or something. And the comment I got back from even the fellow Christians at the park was that, oh no, no, you shouldn't have done that. You should have been more strength. You should have fought in more, or better yet, don't engage if you're not ready for the fight. And I thought that was also bad advice because I wanted a conversation, not a fight. I wanted a keep it down. Thank you. I wanted a conversation and not a fight, and I didn't want to engage in a debate or play the game that's being played. But apparently, that's not allowed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, exactly.
I
And
am going to try one last time.
okay.
Sorry, you go on.
No, that's all. I want to see this video.
Yeah, if it works. That I really like this comment because that seems to be the motto for a lot of people here. It's just being honest with where you are, acknowledging where you're at, and trying to become
Yeah.
better. Just that constant chase. Yeah,
And what
agreed.
I don't understand is I don't understand why I would ever agree to follow one religion or another from talking from one person who's obviously biased. I'd have to go home, research it. It would probably take me months to come to a full conclusion. And I understand that people can feel like a spiritual feeling in the moment, but they want you to take the shahada and then it blows up just for their video. I don't even think it's sincere. Like, I do think it's sincere, but a lot of the time I think it's for their videos.
Yeah, there is the video thing. I still sort of struggle with a little bit because I asked Bob about this. He had this perspective, but from my money, everyone becomes different once the camera comes on. I know I'm not the same me
Yeah.
in front of a camera compared to if there wasn't a camera there. And I think for some people, like I said, it's a pro wrestling promo shoot, and you need that camera to get to feel gassed up enough that you can perform. Because quite frankly, a lot of it is just a performance of
Yeah.
debate, a performance of bravado.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because when I was watching some videos on this, how I found out about Speaker's Corners, I was watching some videos on YouTube about anthropology, and I'm really interested in anthropology and unlearning a lot of the uh
But
anthropology that we were taught, on just relearning anthropology, and there's nothing like these conversations when I went there. There was only one conversation happening, and it was Christians versus Muslim, and then there's one Jewish guy there.
uh, which is funny because we are currently on streaming onto the channel of a Jewish guy who is a good friend of mine, and uh, I, I would love Jacob would be perfect for the speaker's corner because he's got the personality type for it.
I don't think I have the personality for it because I'm not very good at always just being, you're very good at listening. When it comes to debate, I just am I can't stop talking.
That's the thing. Debates there needs to be. I'm trying to destroy your arguments. and
Yeah.
that doesn't. I'll rather strengthen your argument. That's my mode of conversation. Because if I can strengthen your argument in my brain, it will help me understand better what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that's the thing. I just want to learn. I don't understand why we need to debate. I actually just want to learn.
Well, we need to debate obviously because there is only one right religion, and it's my one, and I need to prove that I'm right and everyone else is wrong. Obviously, that's why we need a debate. We need to defend God with words and argument from Wikipedia.
I honestly don't think God would care. Sometimes I think about what God's doing. I think God's probably a bit bored.
I think this comment from Chad on the screen is quite apt.
Yeah,
Just
yeah. See, word of a high power that will listen and let it go. And that's how I feel. And I don't think God cares that you. I think God wants you to do good, and I don't think
love.
he cares so much about himself that he will. I don't know actually, because like there's so much more to it than just praising him. It's like creating a good world through religion. I don't know.
There's my engagement with this corner was triggered by uh two characters having a conversation, and those were Jordan Peterson and Jonathan Peugeot. Uh, Peugeot's a Christian, Eastern Orthodox Christian,
Oh
and
yeah,
Peterson's not Christian. Is I was probably more libertarian.
yeah.
It's not religious, but
He's just
kind of,
American and like he's just individualist kind of.
kind of yes. I will say so. And that conversation sparked in me spiritual awaken a spiritual crisis of such where I felt I was wrestling with God, and that's the
Mm,
best language I can have for it. It's uh my all of my presupposition about who God is and what I owe to Him were being challenged, and I was developing a new worldview. It's the best way I can say it. And over this period of weeks where I was just engaging with that conversation, engaging with scripture, and also engaging with the preaching of and writing of N.T. Wright, that I could not explain what that process was in a debate. It would not make sense to anyone in a debate why I'm talking about this experience. But to me, it's the stories, it's the experience, it's how you come to God. It's very personal, it's a personal thing. And trying to broaden it to a debate would mean that everyone that's a Christian's got the same experience of God, and you're challenging that. And
mm.
I don't think that's useful of anyone's time, because you're not going to talk someone that believes out of their belief, and like you said, you're not going to talk someone that doesn't believe into belief.
I don't think
Not after one
I
conversation at least.
yeah, after one conversation, I think if somebody, I don't know, some people, I don't know. I really don't think many people you're not going to convert someone after one conversation, but you could spark interest. But I think a lot of the time, sometimes when you talk about something, a concept to someone, it strengthens their opposite opinion because it makes them feel like they have to fight for what they already have or what they've already known. Yeah.
And if someone feels like they have to um if they feel like they've been pushed back against the wall, that's when those shouting matches begin. That's where the
Yeah.
conversation just divulges into screaming matches for the most part. I've got so many clips that I could share if I could of just screaming matches. It will be Muslims screaming either Jesus is a liar, and then Christians screaming Jesus is Lord, and that's what the debate divulges into. I've attended speaking school like a week, not a month or so now, I would say, and I think I can walk into any debate and figure out where they're gonna go from it. There's a set script from both parties, the Muslim and the Christian debate. It's worth mentioning. It's worth mentioning. Best mentioning that it's on from the outside looking in, it can look like a Christian with Muslims are mainly debate, and that is the huge part of what
Yeah.
sort of. But what I also find interesting are interfaith debates.
Yeah.
The debate between the different kind of Muslims I've learnt a ton from because I didn't know just how diverse the Muslim faith can be.
Yeah. It really is diverse, and even Yazidis, like they are they don't really exist in the UK, but in Iraq, and they are like essentially like devil worshippers, but they're like their religion is built off the back of the Quran. But it's very different, but there's no written. It's taught through generations. There's no written scripture for it, but even that you could call that an interfaith faith. Like I think it's a section of Islam because it's based off Islam, like all of the characters in it.
I learned, yo, Trey, what's good? I think I'm gonna drop the link into the link for the stream into the chat and have more people come on and join as well.
Yeah.
I've tried a couple times now to play the video, but to no avail. Maybe someone can come in and help us with that. So, guys, I'm dropping the link now. Don't know how to pin it. Don't ask me how to pin it. I don't know how to do that, but if you can find the link, jump on and let's keep the Just Chatting stream going. I did not know that either.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yo, Trey, what's up? Don't know. Did I drop the chats? Did I drop the link in the chat? Let me know if you can see the link, guys. If you've not, spam the comments and I'll drop the link again. Wait, okay. All right.
When really William Branch said religion happens within a particular culture, I can't ever be Japanese no matter how cones I master.
Oh, I missed that.
What does he mean by that? Is he trying to say like you can't ever convert to another religion?
William, feel free to reply.
Did you send the link via WhatsApp or in the comments?
I put it in the comments.
Oh. Let me have a look.
Trey's found the link.
Hello.
Yo, what's up, Trey?
How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Doing good. Doing good.
Wait, you're not gonna be driving, are you?
No.
Good. Can't be driving on stream.
How did you meet Trey?
I was in California in May for a conference that was titled "A Quest for Spiritual Home," and that's how I met Trey. I met Trey at California. He's a California resident, as you can probably tell.
Yes, sir.
Cool.
How do you guys know each other?
Speakers Corner.
Really?
Speakers Corner. Yeah. We met at Speakers Corner 2-3 weeks ago now, I think.
I'm jealous because I was in London and it was on like a Monday and Tuesday, so I couldn't go to Speaker's Corner.
Yeah. I remember you saying you was only there for one night though, right?
Yeah, one day-ish. Yeah, but
does California have like a equivalent?
No.
Right. We've gone from a British takeover to a California takeover. What's up, Andrew?
Good
Yeah.
to see y'all.
To see you too, brother.
Yeah.
William replied to you,
Oh,
Amelia.
you're reinforcing my interest in anthropology. I understand.
So, what were you doing at Speaker's Corner, Amelia?
I was just there out of interest and curiosity.
Okay.
Andrew T, you should introduce yourself. I don't know you.
Sure. Yep. So I am Andrew. I'm like 19 years old. Grew up kind of Protestant, and then became Orthodox because of. Did you get that?
Because of.
Yeah.
I got because of.
Because of this little corner and people in it like Peterson and Pajot and whatnot and Jacob. So yeah.
So when you say Orthodox, when I think of Orthodox Christianity, I tie it to countries like, different Orthodox countries.
Yep.
But I don't really understand. I feel like Orthodox. Is there two types of Orthodox? I don't know if that's a really stupid question.
You cut out
Andrew,
there
did you
for a
get
bit.
that?
You don't understand. Nah. You don't
Is there two
understand
different
what?
types? Is there two different types of Orthodox? Because I feel like Western European Orthodox and Eastern European Orthodox are different, but maybe I'm wrong. And there's also Eritrean Orthodox.
Yep. So Orthodoxy is like a huge umbrella term. Yeah. There's like you're probably familiar with like Greek and Russian and whatever, all those Orthodox. I am Coptic Orthodox or Egyptian Orthodox, which is really weird.
You're 2 in 1.
No, well, it's the same thing. Coptic just means
Okay.
Egyptian in Greek or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that's interesting.
Yep. Do you see many of those around in Speaker's Corner or not?
Teo will know he's there more.
No, not quite. The Orthodox community haven't found their speakers, but there are a number of Orthodox churches in London.
Yeah,
Even
definitely. There's an Eritrean Orthodox right near me.
Oh, awesome. All right. Yeah, those are really rare.
Yeah, they're very
So,
rare.
yeah. I actually have.
Okay.
I know some Eritrean girls who go to my Coptic church because they don't have one near them. So,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I can go. Are there Jehovah's Witness cards at Speaker's Corner or not?
Not often, but I've seen them once. Yeah.
They
Okay.
don't go to Speaker's Corner. They just go on the high street. They're always on the high street. They're like older. They're typically older people, right?
Well, oh yeah, I should probably give my backstory. I grew up secular and I became a Jehovah's Witness at 16, and then I left about 6 months ago. So, yeah.
And how did you convert?
I had a friend in high school who gave me a pretty convincing speech. So, yeah.
So would you guys say, so is everyone here Christian of some form?
Some point. Oh, you're muted, Tail.
Yeah.
That'll explain it.
I wish
Andrew,
Ron
you are
was on.
driving. I'm gonna kick you off until you stop driving.
Is that the rule? You can't.
I don't know if that's the rule for Jacobs or if that's the rule for Grim Grizzly's stream. I can't tell now. I told nothing into one in my brain.
It's definitely not Jacob's because I'm always on here driving. Like I've never
All right,
not.
then go for it. I'm willing to maintain the status quo.
Yeah.
Yes, I was hoping this gentleman would show up. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you doing, Chad?
Good. How are you guys?
Good, thank you, brother.
I'm just doing some tile work right now. So I just made my shower pan here. So that's pretty
Nice.
excellent. Yeah. So so it's good to have new people show up, and like, cause it's cool. I mean, so I dropped in because or came to this space because I was like, well, like, I'm a recovered alcoholic in AA for like 8 years, not at the time, something like that, and which works really great. But then I was like I was like, man, I don't know, like this God of my own understanding idea, because I wasn't Christian. Like the Christians were like weirding me out forever, and I just couldn't understand them. And excuse me. So that conversation that Tyler was talking about with uh, Jordan Peterson and Jonathan Peugeot conversation, I heard that conversation like right around the same time that I was going through my little like kind of like I don't know. It wasn't really a crisis. It was just more like, is this as good as it gets, really? I mean, because there has to be more. Like this, something seems like it's missing, and whatever that something is seems to be pretty important. And so I found this Paul Vanderklay dude, this pastor dude, who is like, he's cool. He reminded me of like the spirit that a lot of like the good old timers in AA have, which is a really loving spirit, and they're they take things seriously, but they don't take themselves too seriously, and they laugh a lot. And so I reached out to Paul, and he sends me over to the Discord, and then I started having conversations with the people in there, and I thought they might be able to help me find something more solid. And um, they kind of didn't exactly, because like I just ended up thinking, well, I've never actually like read the Bible really. Like all I know is I have ideas about Christ and that it bothers me, and but what I do know is I've never really read with like a vision to understand. And so one day I'm at work like I am now, and I'm listening uh, to a like an audio book version of the Bible, and I had like this really weird experience where, like, because I didn't have any problem with God. Like, God didn't bother me at all, but it was just specifically Christ that bothered me. So once I had this experience where, while I'm listening to it, like for some reason, all of the questions and all of the stuff that was blocking me just kind of poof, like evaporated, and never to return. So that was my experience. Um, it's really, I mean, it's just a weird experience because I'm pretty stubborn. Like, you're not going to talk me into anything, basically. And nobody could. And so my understanding of faith is it's not something that you can just hand off to somebody. Like, people have to um, have their own experience with it. Like, and so that's what I encourage people, like if you're having questions about things and whatever, like there are no wrong answers at this point for you, right? They're all kind of like, so I guess what I'm encouraging is like an open-mindedness to, well, what is it that could be true and that could enrich my life so that I can actually um, be the person that I really want to be, not only like, um, well, just all around, like with my family and all this stuff. So that's what I encourage. I don't know how helpful that was, but
I don't know how helpful it was to Mimi, but helpful to me. Thanks, Chad.
yeah, yeah.
No, it was helpful to me. I'm making dinner as I talk, as I
Oh,
listen, but
what you
that
making?
was very interesting. Do you know what? I'm figuring out as I'm going. I'm roasting some vegetables up now, and I'm cutting up some things.
Nice. That's the
But
kind
that,
of soup I made last night. I made like just like a cobbled together beef soup for my wife. It was pretty good.
so I think it's interesting that you had so many. I think it's interesting that you had so many questions about like how about. I'm like you. I'm very stubborn, and I just like to listen to a lot of things, but I never often like commit to one belief. So it's interesting for me to hear your story because I can relate to like your mindset.
That's one of the things that when I found this little corner, as we call it, was finding all these weird characters online that were saying things that I thought or things that how I behaved or how I believed, but they were saying it in ways that was better than I could have ever said it, and that just kept happening, which is partly why I stayed so long in this space.
Yeah,
Say
like
less.
oh,
Go for it, Chad.
um, so I was wondering, like, so if you had to, what do you think a higher power, what do you think its role would be, or like what would you hope for that to look like if you could? Uh, um,
Are you asking me? Who are you asking?
yes, 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 you.
Um, what would a role of a higher power be if I believed in one? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, like if you were given the tools to build it, let's say,
Okay.
what would it be like?
So, well, what to build this world?
No, like instead of build a bear, you're building a creator, I suppose.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I don't know how I would build a creator. I don't. I don't. I don't. I don't think I could like possibly say that. I think that would be completely beyond my reach.
That's pretty fair. What would you hope for it to
I
do?
I would hope that God or a higher creator is just looking down at us and kind of entertained. I hope that he's laughing. I hope that I think he wants us to laugh. I think God is pretty bored, and I genuinely mean that. I think if he's all powerful and he is all knowing, I think he probably gets a bit bored, and I genuinely mean that because I think the idea of heaven is boring, and I think he wants to be entertained by
Interesting.
what he's created. Yeah, I don't know. It's random.
Well, I kind of agree with that. Like I think because I think people are amongst many things, like, so people are generally amazing and beautiful,
Yeah.
and but at the same time they're like, like basically monkeys that are impressed with themselves because they invented remotes for televisions. And and like half the time they can't find the remote. And so I think like yes, in that way, I think we are probably entertaining. Um, I wouldn't go so far as to say he's bored or it's bored because to me, um, if in my experience, just in spending time with people, even some of the most dastardly people, um, they're endlessly fascinating. And I don't think that God is um, nece- necessarily bored because I'm not sure if God can even predict the future, first of all. But
But
like, if you could take
in like
somebody, oh, go ahead.
Christian constructs of like, oh, he's living in a paradise. Like, don't you think the idea of paradise is boring? Like, imagine having constant pleasure. That's boring.
Well,
If
that's a good,
paradise was constant pleasure, I too
right,
would agree.
right.
Sorry,
If
sorry.
paradise was constant pleasure, I too would agree that it's immensely boring.
Yeah,
Yes.
if it were that, and I suppose that's probably not what it truly is, but that's what we get taught it is from like the school education, I suppose.
Well,
I
I think
take
there are
I take
glimpses of
comfort.
paradise. Oh,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, go on,
Like,
Chad. Yeah, say the same thing.
here's a glimpse of paradise. I think where you take somebody who who deserves probably to be punished beyond belief because of the way that they've treated people and the things that they've done, and somehow um, that person is loved into a greater um, personhood and made useful in the world to where they can actually do good things in the world and help other people. I think that is a glimpse of paradise. That person is me, by the way. Like if I got what I deserved, it'd probably be brought, drug out into the street and beat to, the ever living shit out of me because I made some very poor decisions in my life and harmed people and lived with great resentment and pain um, and yet whatever this higher power is was gracious enough to say, well, we're going to take all that bullshit that you got going on and we're going to make it to your use and we're going to make it useful to others. And that's been my experience. So when I think of actual paradise, there's only for like the idea of love is really an incomprehensible idea, concept. Like as humans, I think we can touch on it from time to time, but to really have a concept of that is, at least for me, it seems completely incomprehensible. But I've experienced it, right? So I don't know if that's being helpful. So I don't think heaven is a place in the sky, and I don't think God is a bearded dude, and I don't think it's. I think it's far more complicated and simultaneously far more simple than we can wrap our puny little minds around. And we have so many things that are standing in the way and blocking us from being able to see it because we have our own little character defects and flaws and pains and ideas, and that's where I got at the end of my thing there, where I was like, I need to see, this can't be as good as it gets. And so I think when I was willing to see something, whatever that was revealed, and it's constantly being revealed. Like, so I would say, I guess, yes, I'm a Christian, but then in another sense, I would say, well, I don't think that it's not a great terminology. It doesn't really describe my experience very well. For one, I don't live up to it very well, you know. So that's some of my ideas around that.
That's very interesting, and I really enjoyed that.
There's a character, the famous person in this little called Grim Grizz, and he's got this challenge that I think is genius. which
Yeah.
is the Alien Salience Project. Um, and what that is, Mimi, is you introducing, well, explaining what existence is to an alien. What it, in your words, what it feels, how you experience reality, but you're explaining this to an alien.
Okay.
That's the Earth. How would you go about doing that?
To be honest, I don't really think an alien would really understand like capitalism. I can't really. I really don't think they would. I don't think they would understand devices. I don't think they would understand how basically everything we do is like just controlled by like higher like Jeff like I don't think
Bezos.
Jeff Bezos I think you have to say like first of all you have to explain Jeff Bezos to him. I think you have to
Okay, go
explain
on.
Jeff. I think you got to have a
Explain Jeff
little
Bezos
chat
to an
about
alien.
Jeff. Honestly, explain Jeff. Talk
That,
about
that's
Jeff
a
and
that's a great part of the exercise, actually. So yeah, go ahead.
you then you explain your survival. You explain how you survive. So you explain how you get food. You explain how you get happiness, and maybe you don't have family, and like you kind
How
of
deep?
live
How
alone, and
deep? How deep
you get
into?
happiness from your phone. So you explain your phone, and you explain TikTok, and you explain like that you're bored and you don't have friends and this is just how life is. But then you talked about Jeff again. It goes back to Jeff. That's how I feel.
I think, and this is why I think the exercise is genius because it reveals how a person experienced their existence. And as someone who is very young, it's understandable that you've grown up in nothing but this technocratic society where everything's, where do you get your food from? Supermarket. Where do you get this from? Phone. Where do you get this from? My phone. Where do you do this from? My phone. All of Similarly, all of life has now been compartmentalized into this small black rectangle. And yes, I think
Literally.
we do have to explain Jeff.
We got to
Oh yeah.
explain Jeff, but I don't think we need to. Yeah, I that's like the main thing I would explain. I would explain the right now, and I wouldn't explain history to him.
Right. So my understanding actually of the Alien Salience Project was trying to explain to an alien what it's like to be a person or what is a person.
Yes, that's the
Oh, I thought you meant like, can you explain your
no, no, no,
explain
it's
life on Earth in the
that's
20th
that's
century?
the question is of explain what it's like to be a person to an alien. Yes.
Okay. Well, that's
It's
a very
hard.
different question.
It's
Yeah.
very hard. Um, I think Chris Techhogs is the best, but
Oh,
I've tried it twice and I think I failed on both of them. But it's a really good exercise. I don't think it's an exercise that could actually be solved. Maybe if hey, let's say Christ did come to Earth. Maybe that's why Christ did come to Earth because he wanted to know what it was like. Maybe that's why God did come to Earth because he wanted to know what it was like to be a person. I don't know.
I think that's a really good explanation because when someone's explained to me before why Jesus came, it's like as an example, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how would have God given an example if he didn't actually know what life was like on Earth? Even though you could say God's all knowing.
all right. This will get very extremely nerdy very quickly. So Nate Isles had a conversation with two super uber smart theologians that I watched. I understood about, shall I say, a solid a fifth of what they were saying, but that fifth that I understood, boy was it important because, like we said earlier, the speakers corner, a lot of conversations, Christian and Muslims debates. One thing that comes up a lot in Speaker's Corner is the incarnation. And there's a sentence that was uttered in this conversation that the incarnation is eternal. or not, the
Mm.
incarnation is the beginning of creation. So what you just said about Christ having to experience earth, um, there's a theological argument that can be made that Christ experiencing earth was the beginning of creation. That's how creation began. And I thought that idea was so interesting, but once again, I understood very little of what they said, but I like the part I did understand.
Yeah, that's
I am gonna try and
well
find CRISPR
that
cows.
ex that explains though like the ineffability of God. I mean, let's face it, people have been wrestling with this question for thousands and thousands of years, and we are so like snooty. We think we're gonna wrap it up and figure it out. Like it's, and I would say to a degree, yes, I have wrapped it up and figured it out, but like it's only in the way that I know that it can't be figured out. So like I believe in leaning into the mystery of things. They're a mystery for a reason. They bring meaning into life. They make things shine brighter. You know, like if somebody could explain to me like and reduce it down to brain chemicals as to what happened in my conversion experience, it would mean that it was pointless. But like it wasn't that. It was more than that. And it's something that is continuing to grow and grow and grow. And like I don't know. I think humility goes a long way. Now I struggle with that because I'm not a very humble person, but it will go a long way, you know. And I think that's the attitude that we should have in approaching genuine conversations, not to win the debate, but to find real meaning in not only existence and humanity, but meaning in our lives. Sorry, I'm making a
And
bunch of noise.
with that being said, I'm just gonna play a section of Pacal's
Oh yeah.
ASP response. So, Emily, this was one of the members of this little corner's attempt to answer the question we posed to you. Please.
Okay. This is for the Alien Salience Project. This video is to whom it may concern. Whoever finds this, 1,000 years from now or 100 million years from now, or, well, I mean, come to think of it, time doesn't exist, so the aliens might even be watching this right now. But this is basically to explain to the aliens what exactly reality is, or at least how we perceive reality compared to theirs. So you would imagine that coming from a different reality, you definitely have some culture shock and perhaps need an explanation. So the most important thing to understand about our reality, I don't know how other realities are, is that we have no idea what's going on, and we're clueless. And the main thing that we have figured out is you can't act like you don't know. So we've got people who don't know, and they know they don't know, and they're doing nothing. And then we got people who don't know but think that they know, and then those are the ones that we're making our leaders. And so we're just, well, I don't know, and this guy seems to know, so we're just going with him. But really, we've got no clue. We're completely lost as to exactly what reality is or what we're doing.
Yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. That's we don't know. We pretend like we do know, and we outsource our cognition to the people who pretend that they do know the best. Those are the people who choose to be our leaders. I think that is genius.
Oh, you should continue to roll it. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, let's keep it going.
the best that I can figure it out is that I believe that I exist. It seems as though I exist. It seems like this is happening. I can't be certain, but it seems as though I or at least something believes that I exist. So there's that at least. But if I was to really say what that is, I couldn't say. If I had to describe it, the best I could, it'd be that I am observing the experience that I am having. I am something conscious that is aware of its existence. I'm observing. Beyond that, we really have no clue. From here on out, or from everything out from here branches to speculation. It seems as though matter is real. We've got taste, smell, touch, feel, all this type of stuff. It's pretty convincing that it's real. We don't have any evidence to make us think otherwise, but we also don't really have any evidence to make us really think that that any of it is real. Is as likely that this is all a dream. Other than one other thing that we intuit and have been intuiting since the beginning is that we are observing, and then we are also being observed, and we're not exactly sure how to process this. And what I mean by process is we're not exactly sure how to conceive of this, and so we've come up with ideas like God and the gods and spirits and aliens and all kinds of different ideas, trying to understand whatever is observing us. So we are observing, and we have the sense that we're being observed, but we're not even sure about that. We just have the sense. We're not convinced. The best way I know how to describe it is like a fishbowl. So, I used to get super stoned and like watch my fish in my fish tank, and just, I'd come by, and they knew me because they knew I represented food. But from their perspective, all they knew was probably that some type of blurry, psychedelic, weird being was walking up to them and dropping little fish flakes from the sky into their bowl. And all they knew is, oh, well, that's where the food is. And so they go straight to it. They didn't know they were in a fish tank. They didn't know that I was keeping the water clean for them. And they didn't really seem to understand that I was observing them, although they seemed to have a sense, especially when I would give them food. And so this seems to be our best guess as to what reality is that we're in a fish tank. We know that we're bumping against the walls, especially recently. We're freaking out, especially more technology we get, the more we're freaking out, realizing the limitations. One thing I said earlier is that we have leaders. We just assumed our leaders knew what was going on, but they don't know what's going on. And that's kind of becoming really clear. And so we're kind of freaking out because we have all this technology. We're looking at ourselves in the mirror, and we're just like, whoa, do I exist? Or like, what's going on? And if I do, why? And what's this all about? So anyways, we know that we're hitting the limits of this fish tank. A simple example is that we die, and after that, we're not sure what happens. We're locked inside of time, and we don't understand how that works. One of the limitations, one of the ways we're bumping against the glass of this fish tank is the speed of light. We're not able to go faster than the speed of light, so we're not able to, it seems as though some type of tank has been built around us. And so we have the sense that we're being observed, and we have the sense of our own limitation, and we're not really sure what to go from here. And then from there, it's just a lot of speculation. Some people just ignore it. Some people just ignore the walls and pretend like it's not there and act like you're crazy for talking about it. Then others are obsessed with it, claim to have answers on how to get past the walls, and there's some interesting ideas there, but we haven't come to a consensus as a people yet onto exactly what that would be or what that looks like. But we just know that we exist, and we're running into limitations. So yeah, That's pretty much my explanation of reality. There is one other option, and if this is the option, it's not what I just said. It's something completely different. It could be that we're just tripping right now. It could just be that we're just tripping. We don't know what we took, but we just took something wild, and we're just supposed to calm down because like you're going to be fine. Just ride this thing out and just have a good time. So if you're an alien and you're watching this, the best thing that it might be for you is to just try to relax and enjoy it.
Yeah, I think that was genius. Uh this is a modernist frame. Some things must be assumed. What evidence do we have we are being observed? Maybe we should be more like fish and just accept that we live in a fishbowl. Hot take. Fish don't have a meaning crisis. I agree. But now, do we want to leave the fishbowl? What's outside of that? I think
Yeah.
that's the question.
How do you
I
know
think
fish don't have a meaning crisis?
I don't think we do. Can't that can't be proven. But I don't believe that fishes have meaning crisis.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm just being a douche.
We need some we need some fruits of good and evil flakes to Oh no, Ludutrina, let's not do that again. It's not gone well for us so far. Let's not drag the poor fishes into our damned our damnation.
Hello?
Yep, you're still here,
Hello?
Chad.
Somebody called. I should probably hop off. Hey, it's great to see you, man. I always love seeing you. That'd be cool if you keep up this segment, keep this segment going, start bringing
Yeah,
people in from there.
start bringing
I
people
love that
in.
you're doing it. I love that you're doing an estuary meeting over there. That's brilliant. So yeah, and it's great to meet you. M Mimi
Amelia.
Thank
Amelia,
you.
and we'll be seeing you around.
Cheers, Chad. Love you, brother. Mimi, thank you so much for helping me through this. It's nuts. This is my first one that I've done by myself, start to finish. And I could not have done it without you, quite frankly, because I dropped off a few times and you had to take the lead of the show. So thank you
No,
for being a
thank you for
conversation.
having me. I'm sorry if I didn't really make much sense. It wasn't very good this time, but I'll get more concise each time, okay?
No, it's fine. That's it. This stream is called Just Chatting for a reason because we're just having a conversation. Thanks to everyone in the chat for taking part. You guys were very, very helpful, as I knew you would be, because this little corner is awesome and it's full of people looking to help. Thank you all, and God bless.